break?
It was really good, actually. It was very calm. Spent time with family, so it was a good break, but also nice to be back and have the routines and start playing again.
Good. Yeah, welcome back. Can I start with the transfer window? Because you kicked off your window in January signing Olivia Holt, and also adding to your coaching staff Bree Campos, I think I'm right in pronunciation. Why have you brought them in, and how are they going to add to your team?
Obviously, Olivia Holt is a very talented player. I followed her in Denmark, tried to sign her for Häcken when I was there. Followed her when she was in Rosengård. I think she was one of the best players this season or last season in Sweden. Scored a lot of goals, doing a lot of assists, still have a lot of potential. So she fits the way we want to play, work in the pocket. Obviously, a 10, working in those spaces. So she's an attacking midfielder, I would say. Great character, good energy. Obviously had an injury in the end of the season in Sweden. Otherwise, she would probably have won the top scorer league there. But returning to play now, we build her up because she come from a broken leg. So she's back and she's on grass. But we're going to build her up for 1 or 2 weeks until we give her minutes. So, but it's a really good signing. Bree Campos, I work with her in Häcken. Really, really talented coach on grass, tactically. Great running sessions, great, to analyze the game, knows me, knows the way I want to play, fits the way we want to work in the technical team with Vicky and Chris and the analysts. So it's going to be very interesting to start working together again.
And for Christmas, you won a little bit of a run, undefeated in your last 3 wins, including actually a win over Everton, who you'll play. How important is that win over them confidence-wise going into the weekend?
I think the overall to having those 4 games was good for our self-confidence, but Everton is a really strong team. They have signed some really good players, and Brian knows what he's doing as a coach. Last season we had some really competitive games as well, so it's going to be a very, very tough game, but we also know now that we can beat them, and we have a few really good games against them, so I'm looking forward to this game, but it's a cup game. It's always something different with the cup. So we're going to go all in to try to, do a journey in the FA Cup.
Your record at Everton away has been a little bit difficult. I think it's 2 wins from 11 when you travelled up there. Does that worry you a little bit?
No, I didn't even know that until you said it now. I only been there once last season, and we had an amazing game, but we were 2-0 down after 15 minutes, but we had some really good football, and we came back to 2-2. But it was the game before the FA Cup final, so we had to kind of switch a few players and so on. But I had a good experience last year there, and it's a good pitch. And it's a playing team. I like to play against playing teams, so no, I'm not worried about that. It's actually going to be a really fun game, and I hope we have a good result.
And just finally from me, obviously the FA Cup, we know Tottenham have great memories from this last year reaching the final. And I assume the goal this year is to go that one step further and win it.
It's really hard to go for a win in the cup. You want to aim for it, but it's really hard to just we're going to go higher. But I want to make sure we go for another cup run, and when you get closer to that, then you raise the bar and want to win it. I think it's hard in the first round to say that we're going to win it, especially when we've been drawn Everton away. But of course we want to win it, but it's not where we focus on now. It's just to take us to the next round, and then keep the journey until we can reach Wembley again.
Thanks for that. Good luck.
Cheers.
Thanks, Emily. And as you mentioned, just please use the raise hand function if you want to ask questions. We do have some raised hands, so we'll go to Alex.
Afternoon, Robert, and welcome back. Can I just get the whole team news for Sunday?
So obviously Kit Graham is doing a rehab, taking steps there, but obviously far away from being back on the grass. Ella Morris is running on the grass, following the prognosis, but it's still quite many weeks before she can play football again with us. Olivia Holt obviously is not injured, but she's having this return to play from an injury. Otherwise, I think we will have a strong squad for Sunday.
You just kind of mentioned it to Emily there about signing Olivia Holt quite early on in the window. I appreciate it's probably not too much you can say, but obviously there's still 3 weeks left of the window. Are you confident that there'll be more names coming through the door?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of our goalkeepers were back on loan to West Ham, so we're going to have 3 goalkeepers in the squad, so that will be one position we look into. And then probably 1 or probably 2 more players. But it's depending on if we send players on loan or if somebody come and buy a player from us. But it will probably be something more in and out, yeah.
And of course, again, just for the FA Cup, obviously last season's run was great. But there's that kind of case with Man United when they won it last year, that they used the disappointment from the year before to eventually win it. Obviously, that disappointment that you faced last year, the 4-0 defeat, is that a form of motivation to win this weekend and kind of kickstart a potential run?
I mean, in one way, yes, but in one way, it was quite a long time ago, and I think we kind of are here and now working on where we are. But I think I've been in the cup final the last 4 years and lost them all, and I'm trying to always get back there and win that trophy. So, and we are in the quarterfinal in the League Cup as well, and I just know that these players here are really competitive, and I think being inspired from the men's team yesterday as well, that we want to bring the trophies to this club. So, you know, we're going to do everything we can to have a cup run, because it's going to be hard to win the league, so the cups is easiest way to get a trophy for this club right now.
Perfect. That's all from me. Best of luck at the weekend.
Cheers.
George?
Hi Robert, good to see you. Sorry to sort of go over old ground, I guess, but kind of going back to that FA Cup final, what did you sort of do, for yourself and as a squad to kind of get over that? And was it something that you kind of spoke about at the start of this season, or did you sort of put it to bed last season?
I think we were extremely disappointed first, because it was a tough loss. So many fans coming and supporting us and being at this amazing stadium with so many, it's like a life goal to get there, right? And then you're being knocked 4-0. It's you feel like you let down the club, the fans, yourself. But when you give it time, you realize there was actually an amazing performance by this team to reach the final the first year together, and where we were the year before, where they were struggling to actually stay in the league. So I think, after a few weeks, we actually realized you need to look at the whole picture. It was actually a really great performance and some amazing work from the players, from the staff, from the club, how we organized that. And it's also a taste of what we want to do with this club. We want to be in those environments. We want to make sure people talk about Tottenham Women's team as a competitor in the cups and in the league. So it was a glimpse, and we still are inconsistent to show that all the time in the league, but we want to make sure we get to these games and you learn a lot from them, and hopefully we do like Man United did when they came there the second time. They could use that experience, because I think that was one of the key things they had that we didn't have for this game, and I think that was one of the key things that they won against us, I would say. So hopefully we get back there, and then we're going to use the knowledge we have to make sure we have a better game plan, a better performance, and hopefully a win.
Thank you.
Thanks. Dan Pentland?
Hey, Robert, hope you're well. I just wonder, playing Everton, you mentioned about them signing a few players this week. Does this time of year, the situation at Everton obviously just being took over and looking to sign players, does that make it kind of a little bit more kind of difficult for you to prepare, maybe not knowing what their lineup's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's personnel-wise, you don't really know so much about their starting 11. They could be probably 20 different players who can start. If I look at that squad, Brian is quite flexible in his tactic as well. They can play 3, they can play 4, they can defend with 5. He's one of those coaches that you also need to be prepared that he changed during games as well. So, but we don't really focus too much on the opponent anyway. We try to focus on ourselves and how we're going to improve the way we play and how we're going to make sure we get better. So you need to be flexible, and I think whatever team he puts on the pitch on Sunday, they're going to be a strong team and tough game. It's a tough draw. I mean, you could have a lot of teams from lower divisions in this first round, but now we've got Everton away, so we just need to take that challenge and go there and try to get to the next round.
Obviously, 2024 was a bit of a roller coaster for the club. You had so many highs. What do you want to achieve this year?
I think second year as a new coach, wherever you go, it's tricky, because the first year you can ride on a way where you are new and everybody's like the new stuff, right? and we had a good first year. I think the second year is then people expect stuff, and then you realize that it's not that easy to just be consistent. And I hope that we can be more consistent, that we can show even more attacking football, that we can get a few more wins to try to aim higher in the table. But I also think that we just need to make sure we become more stable as a team and in the performances, so we don't consider so many goals, that we score at least 1 or 2 goals every game, but that they see that we're actually taking steps. And I think football-wise we're doing that, but it's also organization-wise with staff, with recruitment. We're looking into all areas to make sure we improve as a club as well. And that's what we're doing right now, and I think we see that, and we're going to take steps during this year as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, Robert. Best of luck for the weekend. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks. Aisha?
I guess just jumping on from Dan's questions, obviously Everton have had quite an unpredictable season so far. They've gotten points off of Manchester City and Arsenal. How do you sort of prepare for that going forward, obviously with the new signings as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have defended very well this season in many games, so especially the top teams. So then it's more like, okay, how do they address us? Are they addressing us as a top team or a mid-table team, or do they push more for that situation? But I think we are prepared. I know that we know that we're going to play against a good team. We also know a cup game is a cup game. It can change in a way that you actually need to win, otherwise you're out. So you need to go for it more, and the result is not really that important. It's actually the win that is important. So if you are down by 1, you perhaps need to gamble a lot to get back in the game instead of in a league game where you kind of is connected to the whole league. So, but you know what? I love cup games. I love this country's FA Cup because that's the biggest cup I've been around, and I just want to make sure we have a good result and keep going in this cup because it's a great cup.
And like you talked about, the FA Cup also, I guess, often provides opportunities for rotation and a chance to see some of the younger players or players that haven't had many minutes, like Charlie Grant. Do you think we might get to see some of that on the weekend?
I think when we play against Everton in the first game of the year and we want to go far in this cup, we're going to make sure we put this each strongest team that we can start with, and we're going to use the squad with substitutions. Charlie did a great game against Crystal Palace before New Year. She's competing very well with Amanda and Ash Neville. Obviously Ella Morris is out for a while, but I'm going to pick the team on Saturday, but she's absolutely in my mind to be able to play one way or another because she's showing good stuff right now.
Thank you. And last one from me. Mante Oro's, I think you just mentioned, I wasn't sure if is she back in contention? She was kind of a late surprise signing from Real Madrid, but we haven't seen much of her due to injury. Just wondering if we might be able to see her back soon.
Yeah, I mean, she had a tough quad injury, but then she came back for the last games when we had to monitor her minutes. So now she's not need to have any monitoration, so she can play 90 minutes if she's picked for that. And she looks good in training, and she can get to know her teammates even more. So I can promise you're going to see more of her.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chris Cowlin.
Hello, Robert. Hope you're well. As you know, fans get extremely excited about cup competitions. How excited do you get about cups? Because does it feel different to playing Super League games?
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, it feels different to play cup games. I feel like it's some kind of... I grew up with these cup games when I saw big teams in England playing against these really, really small clubs. Our men's team is doing that kind of game on Sunday, I think, or Saturday. And it's kind of you kind of being addicted to, I want to go to the next round. I want to reach the final. I want to be the last team standing there. And the league is something different. And you always need to live with the result in a game. But the cup is, you just live with the emotions, or you're out and then you just skip that cup. So there's something special. I was watching the men's team yesterday live at the stadium, and there is some kind of really nice atmosphere when it's a cup game. And I really want to win a title. I really want to make sure the fans can have a trophy in this club. So, and that's the closest way. Like I said, it's hard for us to win the league right now where we are and where we need to close the gap there. But the cup is actually winnable because you are always one game to the next round, and then you can win the title. So obviously it means a lot for me, and it means a lot for the players, and we had a really good feeling last season.
Well, on the transfer window, on the men's side, we know that the signings are heavily driven on data. Is that the same for the women's side? And if so, who is involved? Is Johan Langer still involved with the women's side as well?
So obviously we have an organization where we try to work between men and women, and bringing that to life is actually, I think you have read about that, it might turn up a technical director for the women's team as well. And I think that's the plan for this club, to have a really clear picture for the men and women. If you just look at data, it's so much more data for the men's team and the women's team to have access to. So using the same structure like the men's teams do is impossible in the women's game. But we heading there, and we're trying to get as much data as we want, and we have special aims with max speed, sprint meters and everything for different roles in the team as well. So we're using data, and we're trying to use it more and more. We speak to Johan, we speak to that team as well to make sure we have the same view. But then you also need to compare women and men. They are different, and it's a different game as well. But obviously right now we are a recruitment team supporting each other with that. But I think in the future you're probably going to see somebody like Johan responsible for bringing this squad to the next level, because it takes time to scout players and look at the data and everything with that. So I think a lot of women's teams are looking into that area, and they need to improve there, because it's growing, and you can basically sign players from all over the world in a women's game now and find really good talented players, but you need people that work with that full time.
Lastly for me, Robert, you've already stated that you expect a couple more signings in this window. Would you expect many to leave in this window?
Not really. Obviously Rosella is back from loan as well, so she's in the squad right now. And you are supposed to have 25 players. So it basically is, if one player leave, new player coming in, and basically the players leaving is probably because they need playtime in loan, or if somebody want to buy them. But we don't really look for players just because we need to. I think right now we have a squad. We have Maite back, we have Haley back, who we didn't use so much in the autumn, and then Ella Morris is soon back again. So the signings we did for this season is still new signings, if you ask me. So we're just going to make sure we take steps with this group, and possibility 2 more signings, and then I think the summer window will be the next one where is more player out than player in.